Out of the Draglands.
All right, we are back at it again at Krispy Kreme. Just kidding. Welcome back to Out of the Draglands, where we review Into the Draglands. My name is Yayah, and I'm a contestant on the current season airing on YouTube.
And I'm Roselia Valentine. I'm also a contestant on Into the Draglands, streaming now on WERRRK.com's YouTube channel.
And we have a very special guest in the studio today. Welcome, Bijou Bentley.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to talk shit like you ladies do every week.
We'll edit that out.
For those of you who don't know, Bijou Bentley was a judge on Into the Draglands Season 2 for the first couple of episodes and was actually a contestant on Season 1 of Into the Draglands.
Yeah, I can't really seem to get away from Into the Draglands. I had to participate all of last year, and I was part of the last 2 episodes, and now here I am having to watch this one again.
Well, then, with that being said, we're just going to jump right into the episode because we don't have any time to waste. So this week's theme was vintage tales. So basically the idea was to perform something that sounds vintage, look vintage, and give the illusion. I didn't actually write down the specific criteria. Did you write it down?
No, but Deja and Helen go over it right at the beginning. This one's very clear cut. It says vintage, give us 1910s to 1940s, which is a really big chunk of time to give. Just make your song sound vintage, have your look be vintage, give us a vintage performance. Doesn't get much simpler than that.
Right. So then we go right into Brenda Ova, our first performer of the day. Contrary to last week, I think Brenda looked stellar. The body was right. That dress was very cute. My only qualm with this look was the hair. And I actually liked the hair. I just felt like it wasn't vintage.
Well, I want to hear Bijou's thoughts on this because Bijou was a judge the first 2 episodes, wasn't a judge for Brenda at all, and isn't a judge for us this episode. So I want to hear Bijou's thoughts.
Yeah, so I didn't even know Brenda was going to be a part of the competition. And so when she was revealed, I was just as surprised. And I was disappointed that I didn't get to see her performances. But I agree with Yayah. I thought the hair was really cute. It just didn't really go with this per se. But I thought she looked really cute this week. It was a cute, colorful outfit. It was very flappery. And,
It gave like modern twist on flapper, which I can appreciate. I mean, it wasn't the challenge, but I think it goes without saying that we're all going to kind of put our own little twist on things. So
well, and I loved also just how the editing was, because Brenda is the first number, and they kind of added that sepia, old timey Nickelodeon look right at the beginning of her number, and it was so cool. I thought it really just right off the bat was okay,
it was vibey.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think Brenda honestly killed this. The only critique I had, Helen addresses in the critique portion, saying, you kind of come out already fired up at 100. You don't really give us levels to build, which I agree. Brenda is so much energy. If she just kind of tweaked the performance to give us levels, I think it would have been even better than what it was. But she looked amazing. Did amazing. The song was vintage. The look was vintage.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a nerves thing, but I do notice that every measure of the song Brenda is in motion, and I think it's kind of important to just stop every so often, and just hold the attention of your audience without running around. And I definitely lacked some of that impact in the performance, but I can't knock somebody for going out there and doing the thing and being high energy. So
yeah, she was very much on 100 the whole time. But as somebody who's usually on 50 the whole time, it's hard for me to critique that in a bad way. Also, I should preface all of this by saying I am not really a smoker at home, but I was blazed for this episode. I was if I'm going to sit here and talk shit about all these girls, let them know that I was out of my mind for this episode. So it was all amazing to me.
I think for the first number of the episode, Brenda really set the theme. You know, she had the postmodern jukebox version of Crazy in Love by Beyonce. The look was right. The performance, she had those like flapper-esque moves in it. So I think it was a really good way to set the tone for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it was successful overall. I agree.
Then we move on to Elena Roberts.
And thank God she pulled through this week with a redemption look. I know we went in on Elena last week, but this was like the perfect comeback for her. I thought she looked stunning. The hair was right, and she's one of the only performers of the episode that actually like did a vintage inspired mug as well, just to really tie in the whole thing. So I thought the look was good. I thought the performance was stellar. I really, no qualms here. Solid 9.7 out of 10.
Okay, like I said, I was pretty zonked, but like I swear in the interview portion she said that the song was made for Magic Mike. Is that true? Because then it was Pony, and I was like, Pony was not made for Magic Mike.
That song is much older than Magic Mike.
I don't know.
Because that song
maybe like the cover of it, but still I was like,
the post.
But maybe she didn't say
cover.
that. I don't know.
And
it's
to
in
be
my
completely
notes.
honest, you can't hear much of what's happening in the confessionals anyway, so I don't know what she said.
Well, here's what I had to say. You know, we did go hard on Elena last week, but this week is the perfect example of what I was trying to explain, maybe poorly, but this is what I was trying to get at. Her makeup was so perfect. The hair and dress, everything was so good. It was simple, and we could focus on her performance, because when we got to focus on her performance this week, it was just a perfect Elena performance. We weren't distracted by, you know, too many gimmicks with costuming or anything like that. We just got to watch Elena thrive in this number.
Don't lie though, because you were upset about the shoe.
Well, luckily I don't get to see the shoe that often in this
They cut
number.
the shoes out deliberately.
Which is fine, you know, because the shoe, listen, I'm going to be a stickler about shoes, I feel, maybe all season long, but it's fine, you know. The shoe wasn't my favorite, but it was not by any means the worst thing I've seen.
You're lying.
No. Listen, Elena.
It wasn't a cute shoe.
It wasn't a cute shoe.
You were
But she
pressed
looked
about
so
the shoe.
good.
And here's the thing about Rosalia Valentine. We'll be watching these episodes, and Miss Singh will be like almost in tears about certain things, and then hop on this pod, and she's like, you know what? It was cute. I liked it.
She doesn't want to be the bully of the season.
She doesn't want to be the bully of the season.
I don't.
But we're just sharing our opinions. We're not bullying anybody, because here's the thing. With how this season is going, it's like one episode you'll be in the bottom two and you'll look a hot boo-boo fool, and then the next episode you win the damn challenge.
Spoiler alert.
Like I fucking blew it on episode 2, and I came back and won the next challenge. So it's like, just because we have something negative to say about one performance or one outfit is not a reflection of you as a person. It's not a reflection of how we view your drag. It's a reflection of the episode and how you fit the criteria.
You see how Yayah just wanted to mention how she won this episode? We weren't even talking about you.
This was about Elena, and Yayah's like, and I won this week, so
You will wait. There are like 7 other performers before you, Yayah. As I was saying, yes, the shoe was not my favorite, but this is literally what I was trying to explain last week, where we got to just watch Elena perform, and it was so good. It was just so refreshing to see Elena thrive. So props to you, Elena. Get new shoes. Other than that, great job.
well, she can, use some of that prize money from last week.
Please do.
But also, as somebody who sees Elena perform like weekly, I will say she does a really good job of like embodying what she's doing and still being goofy about it. Like that, she had the like goofy part during the song where she was just like being silly. There's the real Elena, and then there's the Elena that we see, the goofy one.
Elena acting normal.
Yeah, Elena. I couldn't think of the Elena acting normal. The real Elena.
She's so crazy. Love her.
My only qualm with this performance was I felt like there was a lot of dead face. Like she was moving a lot and doing like goofy things, but the face was kind of blank for some of it. But
I will say though, what was also nice is like I could tell Elena really ran through the song at least 10 times. She just had it mapped out so well. And again, kudos, because this is the kind of performance I want to see out of Elena, where she just performs to the best of her ability. And that's what she did.
Yeah, agreed.
all right, and next up we have the Latina sensation, Miss Rosalia Valentine, and she comes out and she's giving us a lot. She looks gorgeous. My first note, And also, I was like DMing these all to myself on my alt on Twitter. And all night I was switching back and forth between accounts going, why do I have so many notifications? But I was like, oh my God, I love her hair. And then Yayah's like, oh, I did that hair.
Oh my God.
But it looked so good.
Thank you.
We filmed this like 2 or 3 months ago, maybe longer. And I forgot so much of what I said in those confessionals. So when they showed that and I straight up said, I'm not going to wear none of that costume shit.
Oh my God.
Gasped. I screamed. I've been a mean girl from the beginning before we even did this podcast. I am so sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes to that costume shit, this is like one of those categories where I feel like that's the route you go. And luckily, most of the performers came in this week in good costumes. It wasn't like these $20 yucky little tassel flapper dresses. Like they spent some money.
And let's
on
be
these
very
dresses.
clear, by judging by the rankings, they're not really looking at outfits.
Bijou.
So, and that was my problem last season.
Oh my goodness.
Did I look perfect every week? Yes, but do looks even matter in this competition? No.
Well, I feel like the look matters when it needs to matter.
When does it matter?
Well, I think
It
I
does, but like they're not nitpicky about.
Well,
looks.
listen, I think I do have to disagree here because, for example, like for my story, there isn't really a strict look that you have to bring since it was kind of free to interpret by all the contestants. Mm-hmm. For this vintage challenge, the look has to be, it's pretty
You
by the book.
gotta hit the mark.
And this is a good example as to why I didn't place higher than I was thinking I was going to place at that time, because I did go such a different route. I said, I'm going to be different. I'm going to do like cabaret bedroom drag, which is, yeah, vintage, but it's not necessarily the vintage they were looking for. And I think that's totally on me. I try to be too smart and it kind of worked against me.
Yeah. And I think as we're kind of watching it, I'm learning as a contestant and a viewer that it was not necessarily always a good decision to like go into a performance with a unique point of view.
Well, that was detrimental to me last year.
Yeah.
too.
So I think, you know, in retrospect, read the criteria and do the criteria, and anything
Exactly.
beyond that, they're not going to like give you extra points because you put your twist on it. Like they just want you to hit the mark.
But yeah, I was happy with my performance here. I didn't place, in the top 3, but I'm happy that I wasn't in the bottom, because I really thought watching this episode back, my song wasn't a postmodern jukebox 20s sounding song. It wasn't, a flapper dress. Oh, they're going to get on me. But in the end, I placed in the middle. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I think the look was good. I've seen that robe now a million times.
Everyone
and
has.
I'm kind of sick of it. I want you to throw it in the garbage. But I didn't like that your roses didn't like match.
Yeah.
You had like the red rose and then the hot pink rose in the hair and then this like blush pink robe. I thought that was a little bit of a hot mess.
I agree. I don't
not
know.
a hot mess. That's mean. It just wasn't like thought out thoroughly.
Yeah, you didn't really think about it this week, huh?
Yeah, I thought too much about being different, and I forgot the fundamentals of
She
color
said my
matching.
roses are going to be different too.
Oh my God.
Had I not styled your hair, what would you have worn on your head?
Okay, so Yayah really wants to like drive this point home. It's a short wig that she brushed and sprayed. That's it. I could have done that. Even if I didn't.
But did you?
No. Listen, even if I didn't do that, it would have just been tighter curls, and that's fine. That would have still looked good.
No,
These wigs.
No, Rosalia Valentine can't brush a wig, and it's a fact.
Also, can we talk about the mic stand because I do know, secret knowledge that was your mic stand,
Yes.
and some other girls wanted to use the prop. So
Okay, so in the moment, I was really pressed during filming because I did bring that microphone from home. I used it first. And Helen did say at the beginning of filming, hey, if someone asks you for something, feel free to say no. And please don't get mad if someone says no to you. This is a competition. They don't have to like let you borrow anything. So when I came back from my number, over the moon, I thought I killed it. I set my mic down, and then the next performer was like, oh, hey, can I use it? And I didn't say no because I felt like I was kind of on the spot. I was too nice in the moment, but I kind of tried to say, well, I already used it and they've already seen it, like kind of hoping that they would get that I'm saying no, but that's on me because I didn't say no. And so the contestant was like, well, I'm going to use it anyway. And they used it, which is fine. I didn't say no. So they were able to. And then the next contestant used it. And then the next contestant. And then the next contestant. So.
Well, I don't think it was a detriment to you in any way, shape, or form. If anything, I'm glad that the mic was on stage more than it should have been, because it changed how a lot of the performances went.
Yeah, it helped me in the end, because everybody else, I didn't tell anybody else that mic is a little flimsy. And oops.
She was like, yeah, let me run up there and loosen the screws on it real quick first. But
She didn't
all
need
yours.
to loosen the screws. It sucks.
But I think foreshadowing to, what we'll talk about as we go, it's very obvious that you had it in mind and you were planned for it. And I think some of the other people that used it, it was just kind of in their way because they weren't planning on having a mic.
Mm-hmm. Well, we see that right away with the next performer who is Shady B. Mm-hmm. And, they start out with the microphone on stage and it malfunctions on her almost immediately. And so Shady B says, okay, well, I'm going to perform away from the microphone. But coming to the look, now, I might be in the minority here, but as far as these flapper dresses that we are seeing this episode, I think this is my favorite.
No, Shady B ate this week.
I do want to clock something, and I don't know if the viewers noticed or if you guys even noticed, but Elena Roberts and Shady B's dress are the same dress in different colors.
I don't think they are.
They?
I don't think they are.
Wait, I've got pictures.
Bijou's
They're not great pictures because they're screenshots of the show.
I don't think they are. The design on Shady B's looks very intricate. Much more intricate, I should say.
They're the same. It's the
Are
same.
they the same?
It's the same.
They're not
I
the
don't.
same.
Oh, wait. I think they might be.
Well, I mean, it's a flapper
Yeah.
dress.
No, look. Okay,
no way.
see.
Okay.
While y'all are looking
Look
at the
like
pictures,
the flowers in the middle.
Okay.
And then my picture of Elena's not great because it's like from the side, but. Okay, they said, hey, twin.
So yeah, if you look up flapper dress on Amazon, it is one of the top results. So that's
okay. Well, here's
These girls
the thing.
came ready.
But here's where I'm going to give Shady B the props at, because while we are seeing a lot of flapper dresses this episode, what Shady B did was accessorize the hell out of it, which is what was needed.
Totally.
She had a lot of jewels on. I think they flew off during the number, but she started with a lot of jewels
It's
on.
her signature move. No shade. Everybody needs one.
She had the pearls. She had the little the boa that was safety pinned to her bodysuit.
the little headband.
And here's the thing. Mercury didn't realize that she was wearing like this morph suit to cover her body hair. In person, when you're backstage with her, you can tell, but
It was not clockable
on camera, you could not tell that she's wearing a morph suit. And you know what? Props to you, Shady B, because obviously you have more background in film than any of us do, because you knew that was going to conceal the deal, and it looked amazing.
No, and that's something that I clocked last episode. But even like watching it back, I was like, no, it looks perfect this week.
It's crazy. It's so good.
I didn't love her hair. It wasn't bad hair, but it felt like an afterthought. Especially for Shady B, I'm gonna hold her to a high standard when it comes to the hair, because I know this bitch owns hundreds of wigs.
Literally.
So I would have liked to see something a little more coiffed, something a little more full and luscious. But I mean, overall the look was a toot.
Yeah, I
as
mean,
they say.
Sorry, I say pause up for Shady B. She did Lady Gaga. She did Bad Romance.
Oh my
The
god!
postcard.
I didn't even realize she's the little monster
Yeah,
of the
she
season.
is the little
She
monster
is.
of the season. And is it what Donatella Versace that says like take one thing off before you leave the house? Shady B says that, but she does the opposite. She puts one more thing on, but like you said, she was accessorized.
It worked.
The house down. She looks so good. She's got the headband. She's got what looks like 7 strings of pearls wrapped around her neck.
Yeah.
She's got the boa pinned to the sleeves.
The gloves.
The bracelet, rings,
So good.
I will
pearls around the other wrist. She was decked out.
Yeah, I will say I did feel like the number was a little ill rehearsed. The lip sync was tight, but the tap dancing was something that I would have liked to either seen 100% committed to or ignored altogether. This like kind of in and out on the tap dancing was distracting. I love that she was like high energy and expressive throughout the entire performance, because that's something I always look for, because like we mentioned earlier, like with the dead face, that always kind of takes me out. So she was really in it. you couldn't tell on her face and in how she was performing that there was anything going wrong. Like, she did this with full conviction, which I love.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I very much like the way her feet were cut off from like the video. I was just imagining like when a cartoon character is like scrambling around and their feet are just like kind of all over the place. Like that's what I was picturing happening, and I was living for it.
You know what? Yeah, the performance wasn't super duper on the mark. But yeah, she had the energy super high and was having so much fun, which, you know, as an audience member watching at home, that made me have fun. Was it the most polished performance? No, but you know, it's still enjoyable. And I think that's what it kind of boils down to. I will say, I think Shady B kind of runs out of steam or doesn't fully rehearse the number all the way through, because at the end of her songs, I've noticed this being kind of a trend. I don't think she fully knows how to end her numbers. And you kind of see it more so in this one than the other two. But she starts kind of lip syncing to her cigarette.
She loves it so much she just wants to keep going.
It was,
she doesn't know when to stop.
Yeah.
That I was with her the whole number.
It was that those last couple measures. It was like,
and then I kind of I just had to raise an eyebrow. It kind of took me out. Other than that, you know, the look was good, the energy was good, performance. You know, you only get better with that over time. So just keep practicing, keep rehearsing.
Well, and it's important to mention that she's like the freshest queen in the competition. These are
like her first track shows.
Yeah. So like I can only imagine, like, especially going up against some of these performers that have been doing this for years. Like, you know, her scores weren't good the first 2 weeks, but she's holding her own against some people that have been doing this a really long time.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Totally agree. So then we go on to Miss Claire Doe. She looked so cute in her little breakdown confessional. Her mug is so right. I remember seeing this look in person and kind of being underwhelmed, but it read really incredible on camera. And then just a little behind the scenes fun fact. When she put this wig on, her boy hair was sticking out of the back really bad. And I clocked it before she went on. And so what we did was like cover her hairline in clown white and powder it, which I think was not a fun cleanup for her, but
I had to help her.
Yeah, I didn't help her after.
Okay, that must be a thing that runs in that little drag family then.
Well, that's is that
what she said?
That's
she said,
Baby's wig.
This is how Baby Angel does her hair.
That's Baby's wig.
House of Mahoo, girl, get it together.
So going back to Claire, you know, my cousin's also watching Into the Draglands. He's not a drag queen or anything, but he just loves watching these drag competitions. And what he said about Claire was like a light bulb for me. He said, she looks like Betty Boop right now. And I was like, oh my God, she does.
Yeah, like a little blonde Betty Boop.
And this dress is actually ITD royalty. This is actually seen on season 1. This is Katana's dress, actually.
Oh, shit. Call it out.
No, well, I mean, they mention it in the episode if you watched it, Tamar. So we get another postmodern jukebox cover. We're doing Love Fool.
I love Love Fool.
It's a good one. It's, you know, this is just a drag staple through and through. Good job, Claire. The mic is running rampant this episode. It gave some problems to Shady B. It gives some problems to Claire as well. And also, I think there were some technical difficulties. We see Claire running off stage a lot.
I think that was a camera thing.
Yeah.
I think she was trying to play to that side camera a lot, and I don't know if it wasn't working or they just didn't use the cuts to be shady, but
oh my God.
They said, let's just make it look like she doesn't know what's happening.
I was a little distracted throughout the number with like the behind the mic, in front of the mic, walking around the mic, zooming in on the mic. It felt like the mic was kind of the star of the show and not in a good way. And then at the end, it fell down, and she like lifted it up and was bending over. It was a lot. It was distracting.
Yeah, I'm bummed that the one camera that Claire plays to a lot in this episode maybe wasn't working, or the footage got whatever happened, because it looks like that's where she's giving a lot of where she's playing to. And what we did see was really, really good. I would have loved to see what we weren't seeing. But you know, even with those malfunctions going on, she did not let up. She just kept powering through it, and that's what you do as a performer. You just gotta keep going. The
Yeah.
song doesn't stop. You don't stop. So
Very high energy.
Very high energy and very emotive in the face. I was so glad that like unlike last week we could actually see her face.
Yeah.
She was so like blown out last week on stage.
Yeah.
But this week she was like fully using that space and like you could see how much she was like enjoying the song and it was just like so much better.
Agreed.
And then Mercury has her little producer hat on when they go into critique saying, Claire, you were having a really low point last week. And then you just came back and killed it this week, which I agree. You know, this performance in contrast to last week is just miles ahead. I think she really shined bright on this episode,
I think this episode was kind of a redemption for a lot of the competitors.
which is really nice. It's
Yeah.
refreshing to see everyone just genuinely doing their best.
Absolutely. Anything else on Claire?
Well, the only other note that I have here is nip slip.
Yeah.
The titties were out.
Girl,
they
lived,
looked
though.
great, but
I lived.
I thought the stream was going to get taken down. Work.com said free the nipple, baby.
I love it.
I'm a free nipple.
So next up after Claire, we do have the queen, Rose, and she comes out and she's giving us storyline for this. They said, even the judges were like, we were expecting the music to start. And no, there was storyline. There was
Dialogue.
There was dialogue
Yeah,
for this one. She said,
Production.
no, she's giving you more than everybody else.
She comes out and she looks adorable, but the look is not vintage. And it's the first thing I noticed.
No, and I said, y'all are shady for not telling her that necklace was on backwards, but they do address that, and it's, spoiler alert, 2 necklaces.
Well, here's the thing, Bijou. So you weren't with us there. This is actually Yayah sabotaging Rose.
Girl.
These
Nar.
these pearls
She
were
said, but wait, it would look better with the clasp in the front.
no. Listen,
No, here's the thing.
These pearls were not in the equation at all. So Rose's look did not have these pearls. Yayah looked at her and said, "You know what this needs, girl?
Some
Take my
jewels.
pearls."
A backwards necklace, baby.
Well, here's the thing. We clasped 2 necklaces together. So no
which
matter
is very smart.
So no matter which way it would have gone, you would have seen.
But like Mercury said, or Katana said, it looked better. It
Yeah,
was less noticeable when it
they
was turned
adjusted it to the side, and when there's a pearl in the center, it's
But that little dang, it looked like it was
It
backwards,
was-
and I was like, it's such a like little thing, but I was like, the fact that but I was like, that Alpha Omega was up there filming her, asking her all these questions, and didn't bother to say, hey girl, your necklace is on backwards. I was like, y'all are shady for that.
well. I mean, Yayah knew Rose was going to be competition, so she said, "Let's take her out early."
I thought this
Yayah's
was
playing
going to help her.
dirty.
Girl, she was in a black
helped you.
bodysuit with a safety pin robe to it. I said, girl, you need some jewels.
Okay,
You said this isn't giving vintage, but you know what would? Some pearls.
Yeah, it's cliche, I know, but I was trying to help her out because
No, I mean, overall, like, I liked the necklace better than I would have liked nothing. I just was like, damn.
Well, here's the thing, because we talked about it earlier already about, sometimes the look comes into play, sometimes it doesn't. For this challenge, if the look is very much a key component of the challenge, get your eyes off the necklace for a little bit. When we look at what she did bring, it's just not vintage enough. The kind of vintage she went is, I'm going to say, kind of like the route I took, kind of like that boudoir cabaret kind of drag. And it's just missing some oomph overall.
yeah, and I love that wig. It's like one of my favorite
looks
wigs we
so
see on the
cute.
show, but it gave Ariani and it wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, it just was too modern. Or Mercury said it was giving almost 60s into 70s, which I could see as well. But the hair was just way too modern for it to be true vintage for
Yeah.
this challenge.
Plus, I would have liked to seen a little bit more of a conceptual look with Creep. Because I know a lot of drag performers have done Creep, and it's always kind of some kind of conceptual costume number, and to do it in like just a black bodysuit and a robe was
Yeah, and at first I didn't really understand the storyline. I was like, okay, so we've got some kind of like heart-wrenching breakup. She's kicked out, and then I was like, creep. And it's like, I mean, I understood, and she explained to the judges as well what the storyline was. Like, I don't belong here because I was kicked out. And I just thought it was like kind of like, it felt like a stretch to me. But again, I think it might have just been like a culmination of some of the things not really working out together.
Yeah, and I will say, the judges kind of got on Rose about the storyline really hard. I don't think they hit anybody else with that.
Well, I think because she made it about a storyline.
Oh,
It was
okay.
an
If she had
element
just
that
done the song,
Yeah.
then it would have been like, oh, okay, you did this vintage sounding song.
Yeah, which takes me back to the like, don't bring something to the table that wasn't asked of you because it's just gonna fucking bite you in the ass. You know?
Well, while the look was not the most vintage, her performance was super strong.
10 out of 10.
It was really strong, and it was really cool to just see Rose give everything she has. The only like performance critique that I would give is, because this is being filmed, kind of play to the cameras a bit more. She really like played up or down or even to the side. And it's like, if you like gave it straight to the camera on some of those really punchy moments, it would have just, been even better than what it was. I loved her shoes on this one. They were cute. This is what I'm saying. I understand that Rose needs a smaller heel, but these were cute. These were cute.
Bijou and I are rolling our eyes at the shoes.
I don't even remember the shoes.
We're not
for
rolling
this
our eyes at
one.
Rose Rosé's
And
shoes.
honestly,
we're rolling our eyes at Rosalia.
the shoe.
The shoe fascination.
Yeah, she's got a shoe fetish over here. No, but I thought Rose, she's between this and last week, it's very clear that like she can really deliver something powerful and emotional. I just felt like she kind of did the same thing she did last week in that she was like giving 100 like right away. And so she didn't have as much room to grow with like the emotions on her face. But I mean, as someone who's only seen her in the club, you're doing different stuff, obviously. But like what I've seen her perform in person is very much like her first week where it was like high energy, like bad bitch, like, dancey stuff. It's nice to see that she can really deliver this like powerful stuff too.
Yeah. I just wish the look was just tweaked up to really match that. And I think this would have just been night and day for Rose.
Rose, if you need a wig,
Don't go to Yayah. Don't go to
Yayah.
Yayah. She's done enough for you.
Oh my God.
And she'll never let you forget it.
Oh.
Then we move on to Arya Gunna. So while Arya's also in like a flapper dress, this one was actually made by Arya.
Of course it was.
Which, I'm going to give Arya the props, to make every costume you're wearing for this competition it's pretty major.
I love
It shows that she cares about it, unlike some of you.
Because Arya did make this dress, I'm familiar with this fabric. I've seen it. I have seen it.
Oh, so it was me when I said I've seen it before last week, but now you're
Listen.
like, we've seen this.
No, you have to let me finish my thought.
But I love a bitch that makes her
I thought
shit.
the dress was not. I thought it was successful.
I wish it had. What I'm trying to say is, I wish it had a trim or something at the bottom because there's no trim at the
you
bottom.
were
Well, here's
naked.
what I'm saying: it didn't have a trim at the bottom, and there was no necklace on. So this fabric just was not accessorized fully, and I wish it was just. It just had a little bit more oomph to it.
All right, and what did you think of her shoes? Okay, let's talk about something she did very successfully, which is the makeup. She looks gorgeous, and she like very clearly. I mean, you guys were the ones saying that she was redoing the face pretty much every
and she
challenge.
like Elena. She was one of the performers that actually like did a mug for this. challenge.
The makeup is very like she's got those like real dark like hollow creased eyes. Like she looks gorgeous. A dark lip. This bitch looks good. She looked rich. My notes to myself says she looks rich.
Anyway,
Didn't you have some thoughts about the stool?
the stool.
The robe, or not the robe.
She brought stool.
What the hell is the stool?
The stole.
The shawl?
The stole.
It's a stole, not a stool.
Is it a stole?
The fur is what she's talking about.
You didn't
it's
like
a
the fur.
stole.
Well,
I don't know if it's
the
a
overall.
stole.
The overall look to me was just a little bit, in comparison to some of the other flapper dresses that we had seen this episode. This was on the lower end of the flapper dresses for me, in my opinion.
Damn.
It's vicious.
Well, can we talk about the performance?
Okay, so listen. I love in this performance, there's this part of the song where like it does like this drumming, and
Oh my God, she hit every mark, bitch.
that was so fun. I love that. I like rewatched that 3 times today. It was so good. She just boom, boom,
Oh my
boom,
God.
boom.
Berto texted me and said she better play those drums. And I was crying.
It was so good. It was so good. Yeah.
The drums takes me back to this iconic Helen Heels performance. We're gonna segue for just a second. I don't know if y'all were at this show, but it was some Drag Race girl, and Helen was one of the performers on it, and she went to do this like
I remember.
I don't even know what the mix was.
Was it J-Lo?
No,
It's always J-Lo.
No. So it was supposed to be this like jungle mix, and so it started out with the like the drum roll, like the timpani,
The jungle drums.
like the timpani, yeah. And I guess like the mix was supposed to have like a 10-second little like drum timpani intro. And I guess what Helen sent to the DJ was like the full 3-minute like drum solo. So we were all just like sitting in the audience and it's just like drum roll for like 3 minutes. And I was like, honestly,
and she just kept going.
I was like, I love an intro. And Helen Heels like crawls onto stage and she's like so ready for the music to come in. And she's just like kind of crawling around giving face. And I think after like 30 seconds, she started to realize this is not the mix. And so she gets up off the floor as the drums are still rolling and like looks to the DJ booth and just gives the like cut the track motion.
Okay, and Becca, I know you're listening to this, so please post that on your story.
I think this was before Becca's time.
I don't think Becca has it.
This is in the archives.
This was old. But it was a big night, and someone has to have a video.
Wait, I think this was Milk Night. Was this
It
Milk?
might have been Milk, yeah.
It may have been Milk.
Mm-hmm.
She said, let me do some jungle music for Milk.
It was great. Iconic performance.
We have to get back into Aria.
We're pretty much done with Aria, right?
I think we're done.
Yeah, good job, Aria.
You guys made me feel so bad.
Well, you're mean.
You're mean.
No.
Anyways, Leslie.
The Donald Trump of drag, baby.
Well, I'm glad that the judges addressed that because I was going to feel really mean if the first time someone said that was Trump, a Trump look was on this podcast. So I'm glad that the judges brought that out because that was the
It was
first reaction.
honestly, if
It
it
was-
weren't for that hair, because like in the behind the scenes, like with the hat, I was like, oh, I love this. I hated the hair.
I mean, yeah, if it wasn't blonde, it would have been a lot better. Yeah. Rosie and I were actually talking during the episode. I would have loved to seen Leslie in like a slicked back lace
wig.
front.
That would have been so hot.
I don't think we've ever really seen Leslie in like a lace front wig, and I think that would look so bitchin'.
In the interview, Leslie straight up tells us, he's going to be doing like the 90s retro swing kind of music that was really big in for like a hot minute in the 90s. And when this number starts, I fully got that. This was a moment for Leslie for sure. I thought this was so much fun. This reference might go over everybody's head. Maybe 2 people will get it, but there was a show called Beetleborgs. I don't know if you ever watched it, but like the main like ghost guy was like Flapper with like this purple. He kind of looked like Jay Leno.
Yeah, no, he had a huge chin.
Yeah, and like this look reminded me of Flabber from Beetleborgs, which like further just gives into the 90s mood that Leslie was going. So I say major props to Leslie for saying, I'm going to give you like the 90s version of what they thought swing was. That was how you play smart, but still meet the challenge. Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
and I love the intent of this look. I do think some tailoring would have benefited the overall execution, but I love the purple. I love the concept. I like the route Leslie took with the number. So I mean, it was successful to me.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. Like I said, I didn't love the wig, and I thought I was like, okay, well maybe the wig was a good choice because Leslie kept doing the kind of like, I couldn't tell if it was pushing it out of his face because it was like getting in his face, or if he was trying to go for like the, slicking the hair back. But I agree that I think it would have been a little bit more successful with the hair just kind of like slicked back more, or even more like pompadour-y. But like, you could tell Leslie was having such a good time. And for me, I haven't had the privilege of seeing Leslie perform live very much, but like this seemed like a departure from their typical stuff. So I really enjoyed it.
It was so much fun. And he ends with the jazz hands, which was just the
So
cherry on
good.
top. The judges do kind of say, the movements were a little repetitive. Maybe it was different live, but watching at home, I couldn't get enough of it, honestly.
And I also love to, like, even before the number, like in the breakdown confessional, Leslie was like so excited and happy to do this number, and just seeing Leslie like smile made me smile.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Great job, Leslie.
I loved the energy.
Well, and yeah, this is like a fun like example of like, I get to do this for this competition because it's asked of me, but I probably wouldn't do it in the club. And I feel like this would work fine in the club, but this does strike me as like something that maybe he's been like sitting on and just hasn't had the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
It was great.
Well, I'm glad that we got to see that. That was definitely a treat for the episode.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we have Yayah.
The artist.
I mean, Helen says it right after the number. This was just drag excellence. It was perfect.
Perfect scores, baby.
It
So
truly was
good.
perfect.
I mean, I'm not going to say much about this number.
There's not much to say about
Yeah,
this.
I was very proud of what I did. I forgot to put this little belt that I brought on.
Yeah, you should have gotten like maybe 2 points taken off for that because to me it distracted me.
Okay.
I wish there was a belt on the
Mhm.
garment.
Yeah, I
No,
should have
I'm-
had a hot pink rose in my hair too. That would help, huh?
No, I'm kidding. But here's what I'm saying about these vintage looks being accessorized to filth. Yayah had on every last piece of jewelry we own, and it looked just so radiant and true. It didn't read costume, and that's not like a dig, obviously.
it's absolutely
no
a dig.
it's not.
Don't
It's
lie.
not because
It didn't look like it was from Amazon like some of these.
well, here's the
dresses.
thing. It was. It was from Amazon. And that's how if you play smart and accessorize your garments, people won't guess that it's from Amazon. So I think it was a really just job well done. I mean, what can we say? The silhouette, honestly, I was there for this challenge, of course, but watching it at home, I was just blown away at this just perfect silhouette. It was so good. So good.
It was like not, I mean, I don't want to say it was a number I went into like not thinking I was going to do well, but it was not the number that I thought I was going to like win the episode. I like finished the number and I was like, okay, that was cute. Like I did a song.
It was so solid.
But they like sung my praises and I was like, oh fuck, cool. Thank you.
Another thing too is the little cigarette holder. Going into this challenge, for some reason, I thought I was going to be seeing a lot of those, but you were the only one with the cigarette holder.
Shady B had one.
Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I totally forgot.
Yeah.
Well, okay, there was only one other
Great minds
contestant.
think alike.
Mm-hmm.
So there was only one other contestant with the cigarette holder, but you didn't lip sync into yours at the end.
I did feel awkward with it, and I don't know if you can like get that off the performance. There were some moments where I was like, okay, what the fuck do I do with this thing? Because I was like, I can't just throw it on the ground. Like, I have to hold on to it the whole time. But you can't catch it. But when I take off the fur at the end of the number, I also drop the cigarette holder into the.
Oh my God, and burned Badlands down.
All right,
Professional. When we get into the judges' critiques, they truly cannot give any criticism because it was truly a perfect score for Yayah. Katana does try to nitpick, saying, well, I'm not like a history major, but the blue eyeshadow, maybe that didn't happen back then. And I don't want to hear excuses about you had multiple episodes to film.
No.
She called
here's the
Aria
thing.
up and said
Aria
she was a
changed the
history
makeup.
major.
I absolutely agree because I don't want to like divulge into like the episodes that come and what makeup changes I had to do, but I very much could have come into this filming day with a vintage mug on and readjusted for the following numbers. So that was just I don't know why I did that, and the blue was a weird choice because I'm not wearing blue.
But it looks so good. I
It was
thought for
good.
like an all white look, the blue. I mean, I love a blue eye, so like I might be biased, but I thought it looked so good and it was so striking. Like if Elena can wear a little orange wig, which it was bright orange, not a natural hair color for a woman of that time.
Drag her.
No,
I'm
and I
kidding.
liked
I'm
it,
kidding.
but then don't, you know what I mean?
Little
Like
pop of
if
color.
you're saying,
Yeah.
okay, well, this wasn't really accurate to the times, then like, but again, I mean, obviously she gave you perfect scores, so it's just kind of
They had to
looking for
critique you.
something,
They had
yeah.
to.
I was gagged at the perfect score.
And I'm just like teasing. Aria obviously set the standard by changing her makeup every episode. Had she not been doing that, I wouldn't say that. But just because someone in the competition did that, I'm like, wow, maybe we should have done that. But I'm just teasing. Then we get into the scorecard. So we still have 9 contestants at this point. There have been no eliminations.
My God, this season's going to be so long.
But now we're starting with the eliminations. And this was a nail biter. I don't know how it was for
I
you.
was like on the floor, like
Beach-
I hopped off the couch, like I was anxious.
I screamed. Bijou, I don't know how it was for you.
I think I was pretty gone because listen, some behind the scenes tea. I was talking to Aria last night at the show and I was like, girl, you were so good last night. And she was like, girl, And I said, what? I thought it was good. And I said, remind me where you placed. And she was not having it. And I was like, oh yeah, I was kind of clocked out by that point in the show.
So we get into the countdown, and in first place we have none other than Yayah with a perfect score of 75 points.
Thank you. I actually, after watching the episode, I was nervous that Elena or Rosalia would take first.
No, I knew after watching your number that it was cemented. Hearing the critiques, I was like, there's just no way that it's not going to be Yayah. In second place, we have Claire with 66 points.
Which was a surprise for me. I enjoyed Claire watching it. I just, there was a lot of strong competitors this week. And so Claire being second definitely caught me off guard. But I was very excited for her because I was wearing my Claire Doe shirt that
Nice.
night. I was saying cocks out for Claire Doe. And
There
so
you
I
go.
was thrilled.
I definitely was expecting a lower placement for her just because of the technical difficulties. But I think the judges were able to look past some of that and see that it was high energy, the look was cute, and she killed it. So
Yeah.
I'm happy for Claire.
I was also surprised. I think we all were, but we weren't upset about the placement. It felt right. I'm like, you know what? This is definitely where Claire belongs. Her performance did it for me this week. In third place, we have Elena Roberts with 64 points. Again, it just feels correct.
Yeah.
This was a textbook Elena performance. This is what I want to see from Elena. And this feels correct, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
And I do actually want to say, out of all the mugs, I think Elena's mug was my favorite of the episode.
Don't get carried away.
No. Listen, this eye shape that she did, fit her
Was it
face.
drastically different than her regular makeup?
I think it was. It was like
It was hard. It's
smoky
always
eye.
hard to kind of see the makeup details on the show.
For me, it
Let me
completely
see.
read.
Let me look at it.
It read for me.
Okay, it's a very dark eye.
She has a rounder, smoky eye shape instead of that long cut crease that we do.
Yeah.
And it just
It was
fit-
successful.
I do like it
It
on
was
her, I will
successful.
say that.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyway, moving on into fourth place,
But
we
those
have
shoes,
Oh, girl,
those shoes deserve bottom too.
we're gonna move on.
Okay, all right.
Moving on into fourth place, we have me, Rosalia, with 62 points. I was gagged. I really thought I was going to be about maybe fifth or sixth place with this
Disagreed.
performance.
I think you would have. I thought you were going to place in top 3. I thought it was going to be me, Elena, you.
After watching the performance back, I was really happy with it. And I knew that I wasn't going to be in the bottom, which for me was a victory because, again, I tried to be too smart and I don't think that was in my favor. So being fourth, I was over the moon. I was so good with that.
And then 5th.
In fifth place, we have Leslie with 55 points. Over the moon with that placement. I thought Leslie was one of the more fun performances, and that felt so correct to me.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I mean, Leslie was one of, 2 of you that didn't do Postmodern Jukebox?
There was maybe...
Or
three or
something
four,
that was
yeah.
more of just slightly different. So I appreciate that, he was...
Yeah,
in a
I
good
was
spot.
very happy with this placement. And then in sixth place, we have Brenda with 54. That felt so right to me. Brenda's performance was really fun, set the mood for the rest of the episode. It was just a solid performance from Brenda.
Sure. Yeah. No, that wasn't charged.
Yeah,
No,
I
sure.
guess.
Yeah, I agree. It was good.
In seventh place, we had Shady B with 52 points.
I disagree with that score.
Really?
You think
I just
higher?
think Shady B. I honestly think that and I don't know. It's not like a Shady B did better than this person or this person, but I just feel like they should have been a little bit higher this week.
I can see that. I think what it kind of boiled down to
Was the tap dancing?
Stop. I think the look was just so on the head. The song was obviously very vintage. And I think it was just the performance at that point that kind of edged someone else over the other.
Maybe I'm just a little monster, but pause up for Shady B.
Pause up.
Either way, Shady B did do a good job this week. Seventh place felt right. Then what we see this episode that we had not seen in the first 2 episodes, now that we're doing eliminations, is that the bottom 2 are put side by side. And then it shows you who in 8th place is, who was safe was Aria. Meaning the person eliminated was the person in 9th place, who in this episode was Rose.
The gag of the season.
It's about time we get a gag. We're 3 episodes in.
Rose was a front runner for me. So this was shocking.
I'm not kidding when I say I jumped off the couch shrieking. I was so taken aback.
Yeah.
It was just so unexpected. But
You say that, but you're like one less bitch to take out.
in a way, it's bittersweet. You know, that's the name of the game. People are going to be eliminated every episode. I was just so gagged that it was my girl Rose for the first one.
And I will say I admire that at least from what I've seen, you know, I don't know how she's feeling, but she's been like a real good like trooper about it as far as what I've seen on social media. And it doesn't look like she's like taking it to heart. You know, it is, again, like I said, like she's another one of these performers that's pretty new to this, and like to be doing it with these people that have been doing it for years and just have a lot more like drag under their belt. It's like she did a great job. You know, she kind of flopped this episode, but like the first 2 episodes she did well, and she's made this opportunity and these connections for herself, and I've seen her doing gigs now.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And I think something to keep in mind for all the performers on the show, because this has kind of been like my mentality going into it, is like your placement doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. Like you had the opportunity to be on the show and work with everybody, and you know, just use the opportunity to post photos every week and have conversations every week about the episodes. It gives you something to keep you active in the community on social media. So whether you go home or not, or you score in the bottom 2, or you win the challenge, or you're in the middle, there's something to talk about. There's something in each placement that, you know, there is value to what you're doing. So, you know, don't get upset if you're in the bottom or someone has something negative to say about what you did, because like I said earlier, it's not a testament to who you are as a performer. It's not a testament to the quality of the drag that you do. It's just that episode, that moment, and we'll talk about it and we'll move on.
Yeah.
Okay, Yayah, just trying to cover your tracks for giving Rose's pearls.
You were the bully this season, so I don't want to hear covering your tracks.
No, but I mean, I very much agree with you, Yayah. Like, I know that I'm, of all people, kind of a broken record about this, but like, this is your chance to kind of, you know, show off all these fun new looks. Like, even if you're eliminated first, like, you've got 7 new, maybe not new numbers, but 7 numbers that you like put together for this show that are now like ready to go be performed in a club. You've got, you know, these new, again, maybe not new looks, but like these looks that you put together with very specific things in mind. And it's like, take this time to take really good pictures in these looks, share this. Like, people are invested in this and they want to see this. So it's like, make the most of it. You know, you've got this platform now, you know, as big or as small as it may be, and people, especially locally, are watching this, and you know, people that maybe are gonna be like wanting to book you are the people that are watching this and seeing you do this. So,
but you know, thank you for tuning in. That's pretty much all we got to say about this episode. Thank you to Bijou Bentley for joining us this week.
oh my god, thank you so much for having me. I always love to share my unnecessary and unwanted opinions about other people. So
yeah. And then thank you to our sponsor, Dr. Dennis Gross. Thank you to WERRRK.com and Chiffon Dior. And thank you to our judges and our crew and everyone who's been involved with this. So we greatly appreciate you, and we love everybody involved.
And you, the audience.
Oh, yeah. Y'all are cool, too.
we couldn't do it without you.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.
Out of the Draglands.